Hello, loves. Yay, it's new moon in Aries time. It's reboot time. It's start over time. It's embark on a brand new path. Even though this may be the same path that you already have been walking on, but this is about embarking on a brand new path in a brand new way. So what's happening energetically right now is beautiful, and especially because we have been through the ringer for, even months now. It's probably kind of fair to say that it's been, over a month for most people who have been through things that were so shocking, and where they thought they were heading on this path and everything felt good, and then things dropped away. There's been reversals. There's also been a really big changing of the minds, and the message I'm supposed to give you on that is that it is okay to change your mind. I always kind of say too, because I'm all the mutable signs and I'm psychic, and if I think I'm going to go on a trip, but then I get to the airport and feel like I shouldn't get on that plane, I'm going to. I'm going to be the type who is not wishy-washy about it. I'm not going to get on that plane. So a lot of us have changed our minds on something that we thought we were going to move forward on. And one thing too about the energy is about a month ago we had what I called this kind of jagged energy, and that was where you just didn't want to be around anyone, you didn't want to be bothered by anyone. Everything, when you think of jagged, you think of things like poking you and irritating you, and you get claustrophobic and you're like crawling out of your skin, like get away from me, like I just want to be alone, I just want to be alone. And with the manifestation energy that I've told you we're going to have for the whole year, that is bringing things instantly to our lives. If you do follow me on Facebook, on this one day I was losing it. I was just like, I even put on there, I can't stand one more little thing happening. Like I can't take one more little thing. And within 24 hours I twisted my ankle, which turned out to be a great big huge thing, but I brought that in. And it was also because I was needing to break. I was needing to take a break, and I was also like hitting the wall and like losing it. So I had my ankle twisted and a tendon tore as a way to make me stop moving and regroup and rebalance. And I think of it as the best thing that's ever happened to me, even though it's my first injury. So it was kind of emotionally shocking like that, because when you've never ever hurt your body, I've never even really had back pains or anything before, so it was really emotional, like made me really sensitive to be injured, But I'm all better now, everything's great. So after we went through the jagged energy, in the past few weeks we went into the up and down, which is what I was told it's called the wave energy. And that's why you all noticed that you could be so fine for, a certain amount of the day, and then something happens, usually really small, and then you were in the fear vibe or really sad. A lot of people were really sad and emotional, and just things felt really scary and out of control. So I was told that that's what was happening, where it was like you felt good, you felt fine, and then you just collapsed, and oh my gosh, I don't think I can sustain myself, I don't think I'm really good at what I'm doing, I think I'm a fraud, I think I'm whatever kind of things you were thinking that were kind of putting yourself down, and they were actually putting you down for a reason. So when you did fall into that trap of just thinking you're a loser or whatever came through you, it really was to kind of more put you down and give you a new perspective. Now, one of the messages I got last night that I wanted to share was that, when we have really trying and difficult situations in our life, we always bounce back stronger. Every single time. You go to every person who is a survivor of cancer, and every single one of them is grateful for the journey. I shouldn't really say every single one of them, because I don't really know that, but I do know that most of them are. Everyone that I've known has felt that way. That it just like, it really showed them what their strength is. They really felt, kind of like after you run a big marathon, you feel really empowered that you did that. You felt really empowered that you got through that you didn't give up, and it just makes you stronger. So in life, everything that pulls us down, everything that's a difficult situation, people dying in our life, losing jobs, losing our sanity, losing our confidence in self, feeling like tornadoes are coming through our life. Every one of them is strengthening you, and you don't know it while you're in it, but you do know it when you come out of it, and you just feel changed and you just feel different. And this can even be, I've had a lot of people coming to me for Saturn return readings because I kind of feel almost like an expert on it, because I was one of those people who, before it hit, I was never happier in my whole entire life. Everything felt like magic. I was living in the most amazing city, living in San Francisco. Everything, I had a great job, making lots of money, felt very secure, meeting people every single day, which I really like to meet people all the time, so that's kind of a thing for me. Had the coolest boyfriend, the best sex, dating all these other guys too, because one of my friends who was born and raised San Francisco, I remember she had said, you don't just date one person in this town, you date several. So I dated several, but I only was sexually intimate with one because he was so satisfying that you didn't need anybody else. But I just had everything. I remember saying that, like, I can't remember the last time I wasn't smiling. Everything felt great. Everything was manifesting beautifully. It was just so powerful, so wonderful. And then I have a vision that my father's going to die, so I went back to Illinois to get to know my father, at the exact same timing of walking into my Saturn return, and then was just pounded with the worst possible, situations that you could ever imagine in life. Like, take like the 10 worst things you ever dream of happening to you, and like they all happened to me. So it broke me down to nothing. And it was it was so hard on me because I went from total bliss, 100% bliss, feeling like I had the best life ever, and then everything fell apart. And everything, it's still things I'm not even over yet. We like to think we can move past those things, but they still just changed everything. They changed everything. And so that's kind of like, the whole journey of that, though. I didn't understand why it was happening. I didn't understand why it had to be so hard. I didn't understand why these horrible violation things kept happening, and I just wanted to die. I was just like, I don't want to be in this world anymore. And also because I left Utopia on the vision of that my father was going to die, it made it so much more confusing as to why did this happen. So I went through a whole phase of not trusting spirit. I was like, fuck this shit. You fucking send me a fucking vision, I say yes to it, I believe in this invisible thing, and you send me to hell. But now in my life, I see how it really did strengthen me in ways that I could not have had if I was just on the path that I had been on. And we know this too, that people who come from more struggle in life, people who know poverty, people who know abuse, neglect, they just kind of grow up to be more powerful people. And basically it's because they know the antithesis of the expressions of life. They know how low it can be, so they also get to experience how high it can be. And that's kind of what we just saw for the last definitely several weeks. After we left the jagged energy, it went into the wave. But that's what we all kind of saw, where things just didn't feel safe, things didn't feel good. Really huge mass fears in the world of how we can really move forward. And if you remember the last video I talked about how we're all now being aligned to coming up with solutions instead of looking at things as so bad. That horrible thing happened, this horrible thing's going on in the world. Instead of saying things like that, we're now like, what can I do to change that? What contribution can I make so that I'm not contributing to the demand of that? It's kind of like with factory farming. The only real way we can educate people through graphic pictures that freak them out and really have them feeling to the point of, I just need to hide from everything. Or we can kind of educate in soft and gentle ways so that they themselves decide to choose differently, decide to vote differently, decide to either not eat meat and go plant-based, which I've been plant-based now I used to be years and years ago before I moved to the desert, and I just went plant-based like a past month and a half, and I love it. I love it so much. I never even want to touch meat again. It feels so good. But you just feel good. You really do feel better. But that's what I've said too, is like you're taking on the DNA of animals. So if you're eating factory farm meat, animals that have been tortured, you're taking that on. So you're going to feel tortured. You're going to feel depressed. You're not going to feel free. You're not going to feel comfortable in your body. You're going to feel depressed, you know. So I always kind of say, like, go to the food source first if you're having any of those kind of situations. But so what we're trying to do now is figure out ways to educate people so that they want to change, so that they want to contribute to the solutions that are coming into us now, of how do we get people to stop buying it, because if we get people to stop buying it, we then don't have so much of the demand. Which means if we don't have the demand, we won't have the need. That's why I think it's really great too that meat prices are going up so much, because that, you know, even like cigarettes, you know, they go up so much. It's kind of a benefit to get you to get off of them, to find another source of releasing things when it's cigarettes, or, you know, really kind of finding other sources of what you put in your body, knowing that it's medicine. Like every bite is medicine. So you're either poisoning yourself or you're bringing in health. So what we've been going through the past couple weeks was kind of taking us down into these places that were really uncomfortable, didn't feel so safe, just felt really icky. I know that, like, even for me, you know, I am always going to see the high reasons for things because of the path I walked. So for me, anytime I feel any kind of discomfort, I'm still always kind of pulling myself up to a higher understanding of it. It's not going to last. I'll get through this. This is only making me stronger, or whatever. So I don't tend to really sink into feelings of like depression or too much sadness. I'm kind of like, it's all good. We're going to get through this. I just have that spirit that lifts up, and I think you know that in all that I do. It's still okay. It's still all good. I'm still like this cheerleader, you know, kind of empowering you to take that same perspective of you'll get through this. It's not always going to be like this. And but even I had a really difficult time with this energy. It was really uncomfortable. It was really, you know, so many like failure fears, or like we aren't going to rise above this, or it is doom and gloom. And I don't usually tend to buy into those, but because the mass consciousness is so, you know, collectively vibrating in this fear vibe right now, I couldn't even escape it. So do understand that that's where we were, but now every single one of you is rising out of that right now, and you're just going to start to feel a little bit of a new perspective on how you've been seeing things. So there's just a little bit of a new, fresh, like, we can get through this. It's kind of like the teams are pulling together and they're saying, let's join as a team and change this world, and right these wrongs and do what we need to do. So now in larger numbers, people are rising to that solution vibration, where how can we fix this though? Instead of just getting so upset over all these things that are broken and shattered and wrong, how can we fix this? How can we keep this from happening? How can we keep this from still being our life in the next years, moving into the future? And you know, one of the things that last night that going back to what last night, what was told to me was that, you know, to tell you guys, you know, we always have to kind of look to the past to ground ourselves where we are now, because the world has changed so much and is continuing to change so much by the minute. So we have to go back to our past to, one, remember how things are always working themselves out and they are always coming together. All those times when you sat there saying, I don't know what to do, I don't know what decision to make, I don't know how to go forward with my career, I don't know if I should move or I should stay, I don't know if I should go for this kind of job, I don't know if I should be with this person. when you look at your past, you always see that they worked themselves out. You always see that the answer came and made it abundantly clear. But until you're at that answer point, you're freaking out and being wishy-washy, and I don't know, should I move? Should I stay? Should I move? Should I stay? Should I agree to take that job, or should I stay where I'm at? Should I leave this job? Should I do that? Da, da, da. But what you need to realize is that the answer always does come. It just takes time. So it's really good to just kind of ponder, well, how does this one feel? You know, it's always really good to kind of write that pro and con thing about life. But then it's really just about surrendering and trusting the universe to then align things, bring you the guidance, help the decision be made so that it's effortless. You know, I always kind of think about that. But so we're looking to the past to feel safe in the future. And this means we have to go back in time. We have to go back to all those memories in our history. But one of the things that I really wanted you to look at was things like the Depression. And honestly, where we're headed now energetically is into the Depression. We are going to see things that people saw in the Depression, which means people moving together, people coming together, you know, families coming together, really kind of using all the space you have in your house to, to give, to kind of like save money, to kind of conserve, and things like really cutting back on food, you know, really kind of, you know, not splurging on so many things. And so we are going into that natural space, but this time it's different in history because our thoughts are creating everything. So not everybody is going to go into that depression state. It's not going to happen for everybody. Some people are going to be in the most abundant situations, and they're going to be like, what do you mean? Nothing's wrong in the world. What are you talking about? Recession. But people who really have, or, you know, situations, the stock market, corporations, a lot of these things need to experience this kind of recession situation because they weren't aligned in new earth ways. Money is the main thing, and exploitation of humans or the planet is the main thing. So everything that's operating from those kind of standards, I just want to be the head person on top and be rich, 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 and pay my employees pennies to do all the work, or we're, you know, exploiting human beings or exploiting the planet through what you're creating, the ingredients you're using, the process you're using. Those things are falling away because we don't want those anymore. So you can think, oh, it's so sad that company went out of business. Oh, it's so sad, you know, that store's closing down. But you really need to kind of see into the future of, is it creating a sustainable world anyway? Is it honoring humans? Is it, you know, honoring the planet, honoring the animals? Or is it just this old way that was established and now we're just used to it, so we go along, and then the moment it ends we get like so sad for it that it's ending, you know? So we really have to understand that only the, you know, the artists, the situations, the creations that are really for the people, for the betterment, and not so much on the money vibe, you know? Like, if your first intention is just to be rich and famous and make money, you very well may have the energy to manifest something really big that seems to come together, but eventually it's just going to be like strings untangling, and it's going to fall apart because enough people are going to, you know, some people aren't going to feel it. They're like, oh, I love this. This is the greatest thing ever. But the other people that are really sensitive are going to be like, something's wrong here. This feels like, you know, it's more for the money, or it's more for you to be a star, or you to be, you know, or whatever. So understand that that's what's, you know, the unraveling of businesses, of people, of situations, of towns, is just so that we can then, like, you know, kind of piecework out all of the pieces that aren't honoring, and but kind of rebuild something that is, you know, rebuild the power of like farmers markets, getting your food from home, not having it travel and have huge gas costs, not having to, you know, now order it from other countries, which I've kind of heard is going to be a big United States thing now because of water and because of genetically modified things. So we're going to have things shipped in. We'll get most of our food shipped in. So, it's really important that we build up these grassroots, growing your own food, learning how to do this, supporting local farmers, supporting that kind of thing that's local. So we're still going to have unraveling of good businesses too, but it's really just that they need to make some changes with their practices, and it doesn't have to be anything that you judge or say, oh, well, you da da da, that's why this is happening. It's nothing really like that. It's just that kind of like when things are ahead of the times, they tend to be a little ahead of their time, so they're actually teaching people who are next going to give it a try. And that's why I always tell you too, I'm like, don't race to make everything happen, because a lot of times things are improved on later in time. The system of it is put into better ways. I can't talk with this right now. Over time, when we learn more, when we learn, oh, that wasn't the best thing to do, so some of the grassroots things will fall apart, but a lot of them will just come together in different ways. Maybe having a whole bunch of people run something, maybe not one farmer running something, but all these people coming together. So trust whatever unravels around you, but also know that there's no mistakes to this. And going back still to the depression, I want you to remember how we got through that. The whole point is that we're learning to see we'll get through this. No matter what happens, your car dies, you get fired, somebody dies in your life, your car breaks down. We always get through this stuff. So it's really good to kind of go back to the time that was the depression and imagine what they saw as their world. Like everything from so much abundance and bliss to completely unraveling to nothing, to total scarcity. But remember that we got through that, and we will get through this. So you always have to kind of stay on that higher vibration of this is a part of the path, and we're creating the solutions to fix this, and just because you see something as it is right now doesn't mean it's always going to be that way, because things are always changing, right? So with this energy right now, one of the things is that we are in, we're just keeping it so much more real, and we're seeing a lot of things through the down, through kind of the provocations that we were having with others, really kind of seeing things about ourselves that we're not really proud of. And that's every human being, just so you know. Anybody who thinks they're perfect, that's where I hear a lot of people, they're always kind of making comments about, on the internet, everyone's just, oh, we're just so smiley and we're so happy. Look at my beautiful family and, oh my gosh, life is so wonderful. But that's not really true. We all are imperfect in some way. Nobody's perfect out there. And we're always, that's why it's so beautiful. We always love people when they're humble. We love people when they're vulnerable and they talk about how they collapse or they fall or they're feeling insecure right now. And when we do that, other people can relate to it, and then they feel like, I'm okay, because this person's saying that, then I'm okay. So it's really important that we don't always have that false front of, my life is so rosy, because it's really not. We all struggle. We all have things happen that aren't, feeling honoring of who we are. We all have to work to get to those positions in life that really feel like our place or where we're being seen. Like, me, it took 14 years. It's like, but I do know the longer it takes you, the better, because you're learning all these skills that are really going to have you being a reputable source of wisdom. So if they do come too quickly, you do tend to kind of fizzle out. So we have to honor the aging process and really kind of traveling the journey. But right now we are very much aligning to energies that are helping us remember what we're really good at and what we're here to be offering the world. And what we're doing right now is we're taking steps forward into that path. And that's why I said it can be that we're still on the same path, But it can just be that we're making some tweaks, we're making some changes, we're really kind of seeing ourselves more clearly. The narrowing down is always going to continue because we're in such an oversaturated world now. So really kind of narrowing down what you're really good at, what you can do in a unique way that's not being done. And this is what's most important to success for people right now. Don't look at what everybody else is doing. If you'll notice, and especially if you have one of two things happen when you do that. If you feel like envious of what somebody else has done, and where you're kind of going, who are you? Oh, this won't last. Oh, well, da da da, or whatever. When you kind of think those kind of critical da 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 when you go to look at them, or if you, you know, then want to copy them and are like, oh, well, I can do it better than you. If you think things like that, especially copying, like, please don't copy. Nobody wants copied material. You know, we want you to be unique. We want you to discover what you're really good at, and not, you know, a replica of what other people are doing. But the other part of it is that if you feel rushed by looking out at what other people are doing, if you feel like, I have to get going, I have to create something, I have to write ebooks, I have to da da da, like, if you ever have that kind of energy from looking out at other people, you need to stop looking out at other people. You need to stop yourself in your tracks, put your blinders on. And like, this energy too is very much about putting your blinders on and really just doing what your soul is telling you to do. Really just going in a direction that you really feel called to do. And it needs to be outside of comparing yourself with others, trying to copy what they are doing, and also where it's making you move before your time. It's making you think, I have to do something now, I have to do something now. That's not the energy you want when you're creating something that's to be a work of art that's going to have a long future in this world. It needs to be so unique. It needs to be, and you know, this is where I just thought about that. So, you know, me, if you know me, I know nothing going on the interweb. I know nothing. I don't ever look at people's websites. I don't ever go and see what everybody else is doing. I don't watch other videos, but mostly because I have this thing where you know, and this is like the curse of Venus in Aquarius, even though it's the coolest thing to have, but it's still kind of a curse because you have to be unique. You do not want to be, you don't want to really share space with other people in anything that you're doing. You're always kind of looking very forward-minded into what hasn't been tapped. What can I do that hasn't been tapped? Like, I already have several ideas that are not tapped out in the world yet, and they'll take me some time to do, but I'm always having plans in the future for when too many people get up to where I'm at, you know, because I always, like, that's when I designed clothes too, you know, once like other people started like designing similar things as me, I was out of there. I was like, what's my next career now? Because I like to be a pioneer. I like to be forward-minded. I like to give you something that's not been done. And that's where we're all being asked to go right now. And really, even if it means you're not going to bring something forward for 10 more years because you have to work on this amazing work of art, you are to follow that. You're not to worry about, like, I wish people would really get over thinking they need to have their soul's purpose the moment they think of it. You know, we're in a different world now where even 15 years ago, people weren't talking soul's purpose because we didn't have the internet dropping all these little comparison things of like, well, they're doing that, I want to do that. Well, they're doing that, I want to do that. We didn't have that. You just had what was in your town. You know, you just had what was in the places that you put yourself in. So there wasn't this huge, there was more of a trust in life that you would get the jobs you were supposed to, you would meet the people you were supposed to, bring on internet, and now we're not happy to wait for our soulmates. We need to get on a dating site. We think our life is empty because we don't have a partner yet. We think our life is unvaluable, because we're not living our soul's purpose. So we really need to shift the whole focus to, just because we think we want it right now doesn't mean it's our unique timing. And I wish I could get to you all about just really kind of relaxing and trusting your path, because you're wasting so much life thinking that you don't have something that you think is yours, and then trying to manipulate energy to come out in the world before your time, because you think it's what you're supposed to be doing, and because you think that that's going to bring happiness. And I can tell you that, yeah, when you are walking the path of your soul's purpose, you're happy. Things don't bother you like they used to do, but you can't force that path. Just because you're 25 and you think, I know I should be da-da-da, I should be famous, I should be da-da-da. Just because you think that doesn't mean it's your correct timing. It may be, when you're 46, you might still have 2 more decades to really find that and walk it and be it. So it's so important that you just learn to trust this life of yours, to know you're not going to miss the opportunities, and to really know that to have these unique offerings for the world, you have to really be patient with the journey. It's not about a fast food nation. Living your soul's purpose is not about fast food. It's not about microwaving it. And, even if you think about that, if you do want it really fast like that, you'll microwave it and you'll lose all the nutrients. You'll lose all the juice. You'll lose all the happiness. So basically the main lesson with this really is shooting for a new direction in life, but taking it more in stride, and just kind of as and this is something too where I feel like, because the spiritual world is so oversaturated, spiritual world, metaphysical world, they're saturated. Everybody goes through a spiritual awakening, and then it's so exciting that they think, I want to tell this story of what I went to. I want to start a blog, and I'm going to tell things about spirituality. And 99.9% of the people doing that never really get readers. It doesn't really take off. So it's also really important to know that, is this something that's already been played? Are you really just playing something that everybody can read in books anyway? Is it unique? Is it really life-changing? But because the spiritual and metaphysical worlds are so oversaturated right now, things they don't stick to us anymore, and it's so unfortunate. Now you can say something that's so insightful and brilliant, and the person goes, yeah, wow, oh my gosh, yeah, totally, but 3 hours later they've completely forgot the teaching of it. So because we have so many messages out there, all the books have been written, there's really no new way to express it unless you write about your life story, unless you tell it in a story. But if you're just going to be like, I'm going to teach you all about spirituality, the da 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 da, it's lip service. It means nothing to anybody. It goes right through you like the wind. It's not sticking. So really, what's the point in doing it? Granted, if you feel more empowered to have a blog and you like to have a source to share your information, then go for it. But don't think, because I have a blog, I'm going to be famous. Because I start an Etsy store, I'm going to be famous. Because I'm doing this, my life's going to be changed. Because everybody's thinking that. And that's the way of everybody looking back at what everybody else is doing and saying, I can do that too. So honestly, unless it's like you are, especially in the spiritual arena, there's nothing new out there. We've already had, 20... remember our 50, we've already had 50 years now of when it really kind of first started in the world. And if you remember in the last video, it takes 50 years for things to really kind of reach mass consciousness. So, we have all those years for for everybody to really catch on to what we're talking about. But so unless you're really writing your own story, because that's great. We really like to read things of people's journey, and to, because if you think about it that way, we need to create things that you feel something from. So when you read somebody's autobiography and they're telling these stories of what they came from and the situations, that touches us, that sticks to us. So then when you intertwine it in spiritual, The Alchemist, or, I just never read, so I can't even think of books, but those books that just tell this story and then intertwine spiritual lessons in them, that's powerful. But just doing a list of 10 things to do to be a da-da-da-da, it's just lip service. So really kind of thinking of how you can move forward with your unique gift without going to the copycat aspect of, well, they're doing it, I want to do it, and I can make all this money from it, because most likely it's not going to work. And one of the things that I was shown that I meant to share with you last time was that So there's a select few forerunners out there. And if you're finding me, you're one of them. Because I'm here to attract them. I'm not a mainstream girl. I'm a green pillar. I'm not blue. I'm not red. And I'm not yellow. And I still want to talk more about pillars. I told you about that before. But green is really reaching the unique, the different, the badass. They don't want to follow the mainstream things. They tend to be like, ooh, mainstream's doing that. I don't want to have anything to do with that. It's kind of like a natural reaction for people when they're greens. They just, what's unique, what's different, what's bold, what's going outside of the box. That's exciting to me. So I don't reach mainstream people. And I also don't reach a lot of the first spiritual wave people who are actually the blue people. I don't really reach a lot of them too. They can't stand me, but that's okay. They're not in my acorn. And as you remember in the last time I told you about the acorns, how we really have, these people that we're here to reach. And the only thing that's important is that we reach them. And that we say, yes, I'm here for you. I want to do my service for you. So, what? Hold on a minute. I went off track there. Pillar green, unique. So you guys are, or what part of the country am I if I say or? You guys are the green pillars, the pioneers, the ones that are really like, going into the systems and saying, fuck this shit, this isn't right. You guys are the ones who really have the voices. You're standing up. You're not holding things in. You guys are probably more difficult than a lot of people out there, which I think I'm really difficult because I can't not stand up. I will, if I see some injustice going on and it's this big burly man that, is all dominating and da-da-da, I'm still going to get in his face and put him in his place. And then he's going to want to kill me. But I've always just been that way. I'm the one who smart talked to teachers. I remember this woman, well, I don't need to get in that, but I just have it in me where I can't not say, but that's not right. And if somebody wants to convince me that I'm wrong, I'm always going to be open to that. I also really can be like, oh, wow, you're right. I shouldn't have really said it like that. But I have this, I'm difficult in that I see injustice, I say something about it, or I educate about it. And I don't really just say, oh, but a lot of people are that way, and we need them. We don't need everybody like me. It would be an annoying world, So anyway, we are the ones who are standing up and saying, no, this is not right. This needs to change. So, I keep going off on that again. So the green. Reaching you guys, pioneer. Oh, okay. Trying to get to this. So what I was shown is that these people who are the pioneers and these ones that are really like leading these first steps into showing the solutions to people, we are basically catching all these potential jobs, potential expressions, potential things that we're here to stand up for, potential aspects of causes that needs to be addressed, potential situations where new solutions need to come. So we're basically all catching these blocks. And because there are so many jobs out there for what needs a new, fresh perspective of a green pillar person coming in, what we should be doing. Instead, what we were doing is that we were like, wait, I want to do something with that cause. Like we can see that somebody else grabbed that square, but I want to do that, but I want to do that, but I want to do what you're doing. And what we're missing is that all these things are continually coming down, and we're just supposed to grab one and take it. So we need to now be like, oh, good, you've covered that. I can let that go. And a good way to explain this is like, I am an ideas person. I'm always coming up with ideas. That's why I said I've got 3 more decades of expression in my career that I haven't even tapped yet, because I don't just sit here and say that's enough. I'm like, what else do we need in the world? But one thing about me is that when I see something's been done, I get turned off from it. And there was an idea I had, I can't even remember what it is. I was so passionate about it. I'm so excited. I'm going to start doing this, da da da. And then I realized that somebody else was doing it, and it completely left me. It was like they got that square, they're taking care of it. I'm out of here. What's another one? Here, give me something else. Give me another idea. So I can be so attached to things, but if then I see, oh, it's already being done, I so very often just drop it and move on to something else. Unless I'm really passionate about it and I'm like, no, I've been working on this for some time. I'm going to share it my way, But so that's what we're kind of trying to learn to do is, just like that's been done, how can I do it different? How can I do it with my own spin? Or what's another way to express this so I'm not just copying exactly what they're doing? I've had a lot of people come to me for readings. It's so often where it really bothers them that they know this person who's copying everything that they're doing, who like goes to see what they're doing and then does it in their own way. And I get that with a lot with readings, and I'm always kind of trying to like I said, you might have things working for a while, but when you do come from a basis of copying others, doing what others are doing, not really doing what your soul uniquely is here to do, it tends to unravel. You tend to end up losing your mind. You tend to end up, the business just suddenly collapses. Something just then unravels. So we really need this strong foundation of, this is my unique thing here to do. And if we do, because of the energy right now, there's an aspect of it that is aligning us to what is something that we're going to be well known for, and something that we are here to contribute with our own unique touches. And it's something that comes from pulling back, from not observing everything else, and from just letting divine inspiration bring us our square, from just being like, what can I do that makes a difference, also that really takes into consideration what my acorn size is. You could even like do a kind of meditation where like ask to see your acorn, ask to see what people you're here to reach. Is it local or is it global? That's another aspect. Because of this energy, most people think they're global, and we don't really have the need for that much global. We need to remember local. We need to remember there's people right here that may need you. So really kind of asking for what size your acorn is, just to kind of really kind of narrow it down and get comfortable in whatever size that is. You may even see like your acorn changes. You may see that it is something that's smaller, but then 10, 15, 20 years it goes global. So really kind of finding that patience and trust in the universe, knowing that everything's happening as it should, everything's writing itself the way it should, and really kind of surrendering to, what is this that I'm supposed to do? What is this that's uniquely mine? And what are the steps for me to do to start moving forward in it? In a patient way, though, because this one too is, while it's inspiring us and saying, I'm ready to change this, there's also a very strong grounded aspect of it that's, where we're like, but I don't need to race towards this. I don't need to compete with anybody else who's having success right now, because who's to say I'm not going to have success that's 100 times bigger in 5 to 10 years? So do I want to push it now and have puny success and then not have any self-confidence in myself? Because think about that too. I've said it a lot of times. If you push your thing out too quickly and it doesn't get the acceptance or visibility that you desire, you kind of lose faith in it, and you start to think, maybe that's not my thing. And that's how I was over these 14 years. I didn't really have confidence in what I was doing. I didn't really have confidence in giving readings. I was really much more humble with my psychic abilities and more like unsure that I could share what I was seeing, and kind of like, I don't know, I guess I have these gifts. And I kind of really see that as a beautiful thing now, being really kind of humble about like, I don't know, I think it just like that lays a really beautiful foundation for an organic expression that really touches people. So think about that. And the other really big thing, so what I had said about, going on a new path with a new perspective. And facing those things about ourselves that we're not really proud of, and remembering that we all have them. Every single one of us is flawed. We're not perfect. Most of us try to present ourselves in ways that make you envy our life and think, oh, that person has such a beautiful life, but we all have the exact same struggles. No matter what race, no matter what country we come from, we have very similar struggles in life. And some are way more extreme, and some are way tiny, but they make them feel more extreme, which I was seeing this glimpse of Africa versus America. So, an American can be so devastated because their cell phone dropped in the toilet, whereas, an African, just kind of, I'm not going to go into that, but just kind of think about that. So that's where some people just make mountains out of the littlest thing, whereas other people really have situations and they're actually kind of more going with what you need to do. You have to go 3 miles every day to get water. It's what you do, and you don't really know that there's another way. So with accepting things, okay, so here's an example, me. What I think of, and this is what I want you to do. I want you guys to write this down. I want you guys to write down what you think of as your worst traits. Things that you just really wish, things that you really feel like hold you back, or that you just wish you could change about yourself. And be honest about it. Name it. So write this down. Think about it. And as an example, I'll tell you with me, this is for everyone who has Moon Jupiter aspects, but we promise too much. And it's not necessarily that we're pleasers, because I don't think of myself as a pleaser, but I do want to know that you're happy. And Pisces too, I always want to know, like, anybody who's suffering, I can't say no to them. Anybody who has a situation that's trying, I can't say no to them. So because I have this aspect, I overpromise all the time. As I kind of put it, I have a triple booked cafe every day. Every day I'm triple booked. So one, I can't say no in that sense. Somebody needs me, somebody needs something from me that's going to help them feel more stable and secure in life. I feel like I can do it. Yes, I can get to you. Yes, I can get this reading to you. Yes, I can da-da-da. So I have this thing where I overpromise. And like I said, every Moon Jupiter person does. It's the most beautiful aspect you can see in a chart. It's just, they're always just so full of love and almost over the top. And my Jupiter's in Sagittarius, which so it's even bigger for me. I'm like, so I have a huge loving heart. I have enough heart love for everybody. I feel so sensitive when anybody's struggling. If I see them at the store and you can see they just barely have a couple dollars to make a meal and they're older or something, like my heart just, I'm like, here's a 20, can I buy you something? I'm super soft like that, where I feel real compassionate for the underdogs. So anyway, I promise too much. I always have a triple booked cafe. It's always causing issues. People get really frustrated with me. Most people are really patient and understanding, but some people just can't stand that about me. They feel like I'm not being true to my word because I say yes to too much. And then the other aspect of me is that I always underestimate time. So if I think something's going to take a day, it very well can take a week, but I never get that. I'll think, okay, a day is way more time than I would need, but it still always ends up taking so much longer. So not only do I overpromise, but I underestimate how long things will take. So I'm really always kind of in this really stressful crunch of working to the bone, and really kind of spreading myself so thin, because I'm just wired to be of service, so it's something that I love to do, so I just keep doing it. And now, like, have adrenal issues and thyroid issues and stuff from just working too much and not taking enough breaks. So this is something that I'm looking at right now, and really, okay. Leg falling asleep. So this is something that I'm honestly appraising about my life, and really kind of now keeping it real in trying to figure out ways where I can learn to say no, or maybe later, and also, be clearer on timelines so that I'm not always feeling this uber pressure from never being able to perform when I say I can. So you know, I just want you guys to look at those kind of things at yourself, and yours might be different than that. To me, that's like my biggest fault. And it always has been. Those have always been the things that have, most annoy people about me, is then being overbooked, not having time for people. And I think some people even feel let down, thinking they've been left behind, although I never forget about anybody. And I always eventually come full circle and deliver. But I do have that pattern about me. So right now I'm kind of in a space of figuring out how to kind of do this stuff differently, even if just being more verbal with I'm going to try instead of just yes. I can do that. We'll see. Give me a couple weeks. Just kind of being more clear, because what I've realized too is that when you share this with people, when you tell them, they're cool with it. Like when you explain, oh, this is when it's going to be delivered, this is what's going to happen. Most people are like, okay. So it's me learning to also not. Because of that, wanting to know that everyone's happy, it's also harder for me to keep it real and be like, actually, it's going to be about 2 months. So I really had that last night, really thinking about it till like 2 in the morning, just laying there like, I have to reorganize this stuff, and I have to be clear on this, and da da da. So anyway, whatever you come up with that you really do see how it's causing friction in your life, causing more pressure in your life, causing you to not really get enough self-care, causing you to criticize yourself and judge yourself, because I also have the Virgo moon. So all those situations then have me feeling like a bad girl, and da da da, and I'm upsetting people, and so it becomes this big thing that's actually becoming a big part of my life that should not be. So I just want you to kind of play around with that right now, because with Pluto now moving retrograde, that's something that we always do when Pluto's retrograde, and he is every year. So this is, what I kind of say is, this is like you're that tumbled stone, and especially when he's doing his magic, he's just kind of tumbling you some more and really kind of helping you see what else you need to transform and let go of, what else you need to work on. And you just do it in like bite-sized pieces, because we're not, if we could all be perfect, we would, to our choosing, overnight. But it's not. It's a long journey. There's a lot we have to face. There's a lot of things we have to clear up. There's a lot of things we have to heal. There's a lot of things we have to really look closely at that isn't actually easy for us to notice about ourselves. Kind of like we notice things in others, but not really in ourselves. So that's what Pluto's little opportunity is, just giving us that so that we can, see one more thing. So I really ask you with this, and it's about 5 months he's retrograde, so I really ask you right now to really kind of think of that, like what is something you really want to let go of, and even like kind of writing it out right now, and kind of write some solutions of what you think you could do to, to ease up on this, to let go of this habit or this pattern, because the patterns is what you're seeing right now with that, where you're just like, oh my gosh, I always magnetize the same kind of fight with people, or, and what does that mean about me? Like, what do I need to change about me so that I'm not magnetizing that, kind of thing. What are they telling me? When we have these arguments, what is their side of it? Because we're always like, well, my side is that da 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 da. But what are they saying? And just kind of like humbly open to there being a meaning to it, and that you want to change and let this go to kind of lighten the load and feel a little more lighthearted with who you are, because too, when you're not having fights and when you're not having friction, life feels great, but then you have one argument or you have one situation, and then you're just like, what happened? Everything was so good, and da da da, and and it upsets you, it unsettles you, it ungrounds you. So let's kind of be done with that. Let's look at all the provocation. Let's look at all these things that we would rather hide, or that don't really make us happy about ourselves, and really kind of start to move forward in new ways with that, deciding to do something different, deciding to, have different reactions to people, have different reactions to situations, use our words in different ways, so as to not be the baby or to be like, I'm right and I know everything and it's all you, and all that, and really be open to what we're hearing from others. So that's going to be going on with the Pluto. Let's see. Let me look at the chart. So I think that I have touched on everything that came up to me over the days. And I was wanting to get to an hour so that I could keep calling it medicine hour. I'll still do that anyway. We'll just be like, medicine under an hour. Oh! I can find more to talk about. So the Empath Shield is officially up. It's launched. It's in my Etsy store, Aquarius Nation. I had my friend, who's one of my best friends in Santa Fe. I met her like the first week I moved here, and I love her just more than anything. And I've never had one argument, friction, just one of those friends that you're never ever going to let go of, just total harmony. But she's always been this person who is a source of all information for me. Like I go to her for everything, and she's this botanical kind of goddess. But anyway, she's getting her master's in chemistry. She grows and processes herbs for a naturopathic doctor. She's a master botanical dyer, and she also learned hydrodistillation from a master botanical perfumer. So she has these mad skills. She can make anything. She also has really high vibrational, high standards. Like she gets everything from farmer's market. She's not going to go to the store to get vegetables, fruits and vegetables, that's farmer's market, So anyway, I'm going to have her create a whole bunch of potions. Actually, I'm kind of putting her to work for me and to reach other people with her skills. But I had her create this potion called the Empath Shield, and it is so amazing. And what it does is it protects your energy while at the same time it opens your heart. So what you really kind of notice about it is you feel a bubble around you. Your aura sets. It sets like the moment you take the drops. And then you only feel you, and you're feeling this heart-opening love feeling. So what I've noticed, what it does is it really kind of has you feeling giddy. It allows you to be more of like a social butterfly in social situations. Instead of feeling very self-conscious or wounded or fragile, you're much more like your true self. It's great for people with social anxiety. I had her create this because I've just noticed how so many empaths aren't really living an abundant life. They stay hidden at home. They stay only with things on the computer. They don't really have these social interactions. And one of the things that have come to me over the past months of what direction I'm moving in with my career is really kind of helping people get more out into the world and have like face-to-face friends. Really have like these quality things with real people. And we all have like 1,000 friends on Facebook, and we love them more than anything, but we need that face-to-face interaction, and it's what has left the world with the advent of the internet. Before the internet came, we were out every night of the week with friends. You didn't watch TV. You were going out with friends. You were hanging out with people. You were sitting at coffee shops. You were meeting, going to parties, and people aren't doing that now. So they really have kind of gained this social anxiety. They don't like to go into stores. They feel awkward around others, and they're really kind of making themselves sick, and they're not really living their life. So I recognize that need, and a lot of my efforts now are going to be going towards helping people get out into real life situations, helping you to have real friends, helping you to have, even if you're just going into the grocery store and chatting with strangers, just feeling that life connection with others. So this potion, the Empath Shield, does that, and it allows you to just, I go into the grocery store now and I chatted, I always kind of did anyway, but I would also still really feel like those people who have no money or who are worried about money, or oh shoot, I left the phone on. And who it is. Oh, there's probably going to be a huge message any minute now. Okay, I should probably speed this up. So it's probably someone being like, let's go play. But so I had this created so that you all could really kind of start living your life again. I want people to love their life, because what you know too is that when you do go out and hang out with friends, or you go to a party, you feel like life is more valuable. You know, you come home and you're like, that was really fun. I had a lot of fun, you know, being with those people, and gosh, I would like to do that again. And you know, and it just makes things feel more okay. If we're just sitting at the computer and looking at what everybody else is doing, and then feeling like we're losers and like we have no gifts and nobody loves us and I'm all alone and people freak me out and I feel their energy and they're so negative, and you know, and you just see every one of those like puts you more in a ball, in a cave, hidden away, unhappy, depressed. So this just kind of helps you blossom and kind of come out in the world and be more social, and kind of, you know, you won't believe what a difference it makes when you're not feeling other people's energy. When you're not feeling that, you're like, oh my gosh, this is me, this is cool, I can be myself and life is good. And so I think it's the most wonderful thing ever, and it's in the store as of today, and it's also 10% off today because it's the new moon giveaway. So if you also want to go down to the link below, you can sign up to be the winner of a bottle. Otherwise, we're always going to have it in the store. Well, not really. They're small batches, and a lot of them have to be hydro-distilled by my girl. So like passion flower is one that she even sent me home with a plant. She's like, okay, if we're going to be making this stuff, you need to be growing some of the things too. She's like, bring me the flowers when they... So I was like, okay, which that's a really cool plant. I'm glad she got that for me. But so we're going to be making small batches. So maybe around every week we'll have a new batch come out. So they will keep running out, but I'm having her continually keep making batches for us so that we'll have it available. Right now we have the 1 ounce bottle, and next week the half-ounce bottles are coming, so you can like take them with you, or if you just want to sample it first to make sure it works for you, because it's wonderful. So I know you'll love it. Okay, so yay, we got to an hour, medicine hour. That worked great. Okay, so I'm going to go, and we got 2 inches of snow today. It was such a great surprise, so I kind of feel like doing nothing and watching a movie, even though I have so much to do. I really can't do that, but I'm still gonna try to talk myself into it. Go take care of yourself. So, okay, I think that's it, and I love you, and I got your back, and I will see you for the full moon in Scorpio. Yes, okay, you have a